Hello my friend and welcome to this new video in which we will create a wooden dressing from scratch without any experience. I've always been attracted to construction and handcrafting, but as I was good with numbers, I never really developed those skills. However, after several years at a desk job, I wanted to explore different ways of living and decided to look back at my early interests. Thus, I met Jean-Loup, an awesome cabinet maker, and eventually built myself a dressing under his supervision. Basically, a dressing is built in two phases. First, the frame, and then its content. The frame and each element of the dressing are made from large planks. Thus, you should define what pieces do you need, their measurement, and then cut them accordingly. After cutting any pieces, you want to quickly sand their edges as they will come out of the saw very sharp. For the cross pieces and styles, I went further and slightly beveled them for a nicer look. Then I prepare them for assembly. They will be held together with screws and I will use dowels to facilitate good placement. Those dowels are ovally and will fit in grooves, carefully placed on the planks. The frame is composed of two cross pieces, i.e. the top and bottom planks, two styles, i.e. left and right upward pieces, and its back. In order for the frame to be 100% smooth, the screw holes are beveled for the screws to fit in perfectly. An important decision to make is in which material are you going to build your furniture pieces. For my project, I decided to use massive pine wood. When screwing the pieces together, it is important to apply some pressure on the wood to align them. Indeed, as it is a living material, the wooden planks may not always be perfectly flat. A bit of brute force will fix this. After making sure that the frame is the right size, I'm going to place the back. The back piece is slimmer than the other parts, but is very important for the overall stability. The styles have been carved out for the back piece to fit in. Here you can notice that the styles are actually larger than the cross pieces. Indeed, the styles are enveloping the back, while the cross pieces are not. This is the kind of planning to anticipate when building. Once placed correctly, the back is screwed to the outer shell on the go. Using a small guide, I'm drilling a hole, beveling it, and then screwing in every couple dozen centimeters. As usual, applying some pressure to align the pieces together. Once assembled, I could lift the frame to check it out. That was the first unit of my dressing, but I actually built two more. Although the frame looks already impressive and nice, it's just the skeleton. It feels like the bulk of the work is done, but creating the dressing's content is still a long shot. Thus, now I will dismantle the frame and get to the rest. My next focus will be on the drawers, and there are several of them. Each drawer is like a mini frame. Their pieces are smaller, so I'm using a smaller saw to cut them. I'm setting them up in a way that allows me to cut the pieces as in an assembly line. Similarly, I have a lot of beveling to do. Thus, I set up the press drill to have a consistent depth and chain bevel the drawer pieces, which is somehow satisfying to execute. The drawer bottom are also made out of the slimmer wood and will hold within grooves in the drawer's frame. For them to slide in nicely, I am chiseling the edges. Assembling a drawer is similar to the frame: dowels, drills, screws, repeat. To make sure that the drawer is square, I'm measuring the two diagonals and hope that they're the same size. Then I'm placing the slide mount. As you can see, there are many small steps to get to a drawer. Although it's a small piece, all the required details makes it a slow process. And I built 6 of them. Another example is this hole on the rear of the drawer, which was needed at a precise location and of a precise depth for a pin on the slide to lock into it. To make the drawer's face, I will place a plank to hide the slide and the different pieces. For the handle, I'm drilling a large hole and will then cut the plank in half, then beveling the top part for a clean look. The face is directly screwed from the inside to hide the screw. Eventually, I could place my drawer and enjoy its soft closing. In cabinet making, there is very small margin of error and many things to do precisely. How high should that rod be? Where does this screw should be? What's the width of the crosspiece? And so on. Thus, you will often make a few computations for your project. You should also make sure to measure accurately and to drill straight holes. The saying is, measure twice and drill once. You will end up doing several times the same action, so there is some repetitiveness, but it can usually be done efficiently with the right tool or process. Here, I'm drilling many holes that allow setting up the pin at different places, eventually allowing to adjust the plank's disposition in the dressing. After having built the dressing's frame and its feature, it's time to move on to the finish. First, all the piece must be sanded. Then, for the wood to age well, it should be protected. For my project, I decided to use a wax oil. As my two material types were of a slightly different color, I played with tint to match them. All pieces must be sanded, then oiled 2 times on both faces, and this took me about 4 days in total. After about a month in this workshop, it was time for me to dismantle all the pieces for transport, remove the dust off my hair and clothes, and then say goodbye. All pieces were to be moved into the apartment on the 4th floor. Some pieces were too big for the elevator, so we had to be creative.
Ok, t'es chaud? Hop, on est droit là? Tire un peu vers toi. Ok. Attends. Ah, yes! Prendre le risque de jouer près de toi. Bon, mais ça a été.
I placed a stand for the dressing to fit onto at the same height that the plinth on the wall. Then reassemble the dressing unit, just like in the workshop.
Ouais. Tu l'as? Ouais. Ok. Soulève. Je suis sur le socle ici, moi. Il y a encore plein de place, hein, là. Ouais. Oh. Attends, et là, il faut que tu pousses. Ouais.
I placed the different features such as the drawer and the planks, and just like that, I was done.
Wow, thank you so much for watching until the end. Those clips have been sitting on my hard drive for about 2 years, and I realized that I don't even have a before and after final video. So it used to look like this, with a couple of IKEA packs and Amazon hangers, and now it looks like this, a corner dressing, and I'm super happy with the results. I am very grateful to my mentor, Jean-Loup. Without him, none of this would have been possible. So thank you very much, Jean-Loup. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Attends, pause. Déjà coupé la vidéo.